keep it simple is what I think. I'm not talking about the people who want to sit on their ass and watch TV, because those people don't move.
They're already in a metaverse. I think maybe our SD card's full.
Is it still recording?
I still have a picture, but I think it quit recording. That was 32 gig. I don't know if it was empty.
You're fucked, dude. Oh my God. Peace be with you. Okay.
Wow. We're at another fucking hour. So.
Rest in peace. That's pretty good, dude. You got enough.
Yeah, this is going to take me 6 months to edit. Welcome to the FTP Speed Shop PodCast, where we talk about what you talk about in the garage because, hey, we're in the garage. I'm your host, Mike Early, and today with me I have Jason Lubkin of JRL Digital.
It's weird when you don't call me Spike.
I know. Sorry, Spike.
Well, thanks for letting me be the guinea pig here, Mike, on your very first podcast.
It's technically the second one, but I don't think the first one's usable.
Why not?
Audio issues.
Oh, okay. Technical difficulties.
Yeah. So there's going to be quite a few of these that are probably not up to par and won't ever make it on the internet. Hopefully this is one of them.
Well, I think what's funny is you see a lot of these podcasts now. You see them progress. It's like a TV show where like the haircuts and fitness level of the actors are like they either start the episode like super fat and then you watch like by season 6 they're like cut and they just look great, and they've figured out all the shit and hiccups, and it's like...
Are you saying that I'm going to look great after like...
No, what I'm saying is you've already got a pretty good setup here.
Oh yeah, check it out. We got the far wide angle camera now, thanks to Spike for hooking us up with that.
So you built this table.
Yes, the table is made out of 2x4s ripped in half. Dude,
that's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, it was less than ideal.
What kind of stain did you go with here?
Brown. I don't remember. I think it was like a Minwax product, but I couldn't tell you. It's actually a water-based clear coat on top. I went with the triple thick, but I only had enough for one coat, so I had to go get another water-based.
Did you use a planer on the top?
I actually used a 7-inch grinder with a 80 grit disc. You don't believe me? Here, I'll go get you this. That's what I finished it with.
Wow, you're a true car guy.
And then I sanded it down a little bit with the DA, and that was it.
Well, I think it's a very purpose-built table. I think it
kind of looks
like I like this. This is great. You've got what, 8 different plugs to mount GoPros in for
five. So I figure 5 people could fit at this table, even though I only have the options of 4 microphones right now.
How many podcasts do you think are live right now in the US? Like it's weird how in the last 5 years it's like the thing to do.
Everybody wants to do it.
Everybody wants a podcast.
It's got to be a lot. Well, I guess it's a cool thing to do. You get paid to sit on your ass and talk to your friends.
I suppose once you get some sponsors.
Yeah, and I don't know how to get sponsors, so I don't have any. Except for FTP Speedshop.com. Go there and get
You have no issues with shameless plugs whatsoever.
Get yourself a FTP Speed Shop koozie and enjoy a Busch Latte out of it.
That's really good. I'm trying to figure out why Stephen Hawking is on today's homepage of Google. Like,
you said it was because it was his birthday.
No, I don't think it's his birthday, dude. No, wait, it is. January 8th. That's why. Duh.
So it was his birthday.
Man, that dude was crazy.
Wait, was that the guy that was in the wheelchair?
Yes.
Like the robot guy?
Yeah, and I think he made some predictions about the future.
Yeah.
That are a little crazy, but...
So what have you been working on in the garage? What do you got going on in your garage?
I haven't touched the Impala since fall.
What is the Impala? Is it a 95?
Well, it's a 1963. When people ask me the year, I do tell them it's like a 93.
Yeah.
And that's...
Wait, did you have a 79?
My very first car was a 1979 Impala.
Nice.
I specifically remember... like I was 15 and I'm like coming home from work. I worked at Runza. I was a drive-through cashier, and I'm coming home and my dad's like, "Hey, we found you a car." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "It's an Impala." I'm like, "Oh, Impala.
Sounds pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think those are pretty good." I'm like, "All right, what year is it?" He's like, "It's a 79. An old lady owned it and it's got 60,000 miles on it." I'm like, 79. I'm like, I don't know what those look like.
That's gotta be
and
cool. It sounds old. It's gotta be cool, right?
Yeah, I get home and it's in the driveway and it's that like baby blue, like
Looks
just
like a
off.
Caprice classic.
Well, I was like, that's a fucking 70s cop car. I'm gonna be driving a cop car to school, and I was like, this is embarrassing. This is gonna suck, but. I mean, people actually love that car, dude. It was like when you...
I think they're kind of neat cars. Actually. But again, my buddy had one. That was his first car. He had it was 87 Caprice, I think. So I think it's like the same body style, basically, a little bit changed. But
well, I mean, I can't remember what kind of wheels I put on it.
You put wheels on it?
Yeah.
Like some freaking wires?
No, not wires.
Something?
They were like the aluminum mag wheels.
Yeah.
They were like American racing style aluminum mags, but it had a 305 in it, and I used to think it was like I wanted it to be fast, but it's like I didn't know. I'm like, it's a V8.
It's got a V8 in it. It's going to move.
It's going to move. And everybody I tried to race just smoked me. And I'm like, this thing sucks, dude.
Yeah, that's a way cooler first car than mine. My dad told me.
Didn't you have a Cavalier?
Yeah, 93 Cavalier.
That's pretty bitchin', dude.
Yeah, he said we went to see my great-grandma and my... his cousin, I guess it would have been, was in the military. Her husband was in the military, and they're going to Germany, so she had to get rid of her car. And I was like 14, almost 15. And my dad's like, I think it'll be a really good car. It's low miles, blah, blah, blah. You know,
Don't you like how our dads just force our decision on us? And it's like...
Well, my dad told me that he would pay for half of any car
that was my deal, too.
So as long as I could come up with whatever amount of money, he would give me the other half to buy it. So
I guess that's what you get for getting half of it subsidized by your father.
Yeah. And I said... We walked outside and looked at it and go, God, no, no, that is the worst looking car I've ever seen in my life. I had it in my head I was going to get a Chevelle or something like that. And I was like, not going to happen. He's like, well, let's go take it for a test drive. Drove it around. I said, nope, Dad, I don't want it. I don't want it at all. And she wanted like $3,300 for it or something like that. And 2 weeks later, this red 93 Cavalier is in our driveway, and my dad goes, oh yeah, by the way, you owe me $1,750.
Oh, great.
Or whatever the hell it was. I don't remember what she wanted for it, but I think I had to pay somewhere around $1,700 for a car that I didn't even want. But it turned out to be a fun car. Reverse to firsts, just some smoky ass burnouts. It was legit in that aspect.
Well, the year 79 kept reoccurring in my life because the first car was a 79 Impala. And then I think I was working at Ford at the time that I bought. You actually loaned me the money for the Malibu that Kevin sold me. It was a 79 Malibu.
Yeah, we were just talking about that the other day, me and Kevin.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, like, how your experience level with cars and working on them, like, just, I don't know. It just, like, doubles in time. Like, when I was in high school, I'm like, I wanted my car to be loud. So this is pretty dumb. So I'm like, well, the easiest way to do that is to, like, cut the muffler off. So
What did your dad think about you cutting the muffler off?
My dad would not let me do any upgrades to that, like not even valve covers. Like he did not want me to touch it.
You
And
couldn't even get the
for good
chrome valve cover.
No, dude, I could not do a dress kit, nothing. But it was for good reason, because I shouldn't. At that age.
He was still pissed about the motorcycle in the house incident.
Yes. I think he just knew my attention span at that time. I had a lot of unfinished projects. We'll just say that.
Yeah. I'm surprised you finished your current Impala.
That's only because I had like Derek Turner and Zach and people pushing me through
Forcing you to do it.
I think the other thing to building a car is tools. And like once you don't have the tool, you're like, I'm not touching that.
Yeah, it's really good to have friends that have tools. Like Derek, I've got his flaring tool right there that I had to use for the fuel lines on the Prelude. And it's just like, I don't really want to go buy a $500 flaring tool, and he has it, and he loans it out to me.
Derek's, I think, approach on tools is just buy it. He has one or two of everything.
Yeah, he told me, he goes, hey, I got this the quick push-on connection fuel line tool. What the hell are those called? Push locks.
Yeah.
And he goes, I've never used it. I bought it 2 years ago, and it's just been sitting in my cupboard. He goes, if you want, you can use this. I was like, well, I don't have any push locks, so I don't have any use for it. But he just opened it up, and he's like, well, this is how you'd use it if I was going to use it. He's never used it, but it looked expensive.
He's let me borrow a lot of tools like that. And he's the friend in our group that has the largest collection of cars running and not running.
Yeah, and his wife she might have a problem. You know, some people are addicted to heroin. She's addicted to clapped out caddies.
She's going to cut you when she hears this. Oh, God.
Oh, I mean, some of them, they're not, they're survivor cars, to put it nicely.
Well, I think it's smart because look how much a 40s Ford sells for now. Like when they're in their 60s and they have this collection, I don't know if it's a money thing to them. I think it's just a saving the past thing.
I think Derek really likes taking something that somebody gave up on and putting it back together and making it run again and enjoying it.
And he's gotten really good at cars that just haven't run in a long time. He's like, oh, let me just file the points and I'll just create my own fuel source and we'll get her fired up. Bing, bang, boom.
Well, it's everything with experience. It's like having the tools. Well, experience is a tool because now you know how to do it and you don't have to sit and think about it or try different things. You just go, hey, let's go ahead and do this way because I already know it's going to work.
Back to 79. So it was a 79
Malibu.
My first car was a 79 Impala. And that didn't even come with a radio. It did not even from the factory. It just had a blank spot, no radio. I drove around with a boombox in the back for music, dude.
That's funny because that's cool. Exactly what I do right now because all the speakers in my truck are blowing. So if I want to listen to anything, I get my little JBL speaker. I think it's over there somewhere and throw it on the dash and rock out to it.
The 79 Malibu, I gave up on that within a year. And then...
like you gave up, like as a sold it or?
Yes, I sold it to Zach.
Oh wait, the Malibu.
The Malibu.
Not the Impala.
Remember the Impala. Remember the shop we had for like...
Yeah, no, you definitely sold the Malibu to Zach.
Yeah.
Because I remember the day like it was yesterday.
Oh God. Oh no. Are you going to talk about it?
We're stripping it down. Here, we're stripping it down with a disc like this. And we got the top half of the quarter all stripped down. And he gets down by the wheel arches and just dust goes everywhere. He hit the Bondo spot and he's like, oh, this fucking thing's full of Bondos. It's a piece of shit fucking full of Bondo. And you lost it.
So I'm not going to talk about where the shop was, but...
It was
the major moment and the major, yes. The major thing I remember from that was the landlord was like, all these cars over here, they're fair game. You can do whatever you want. You can have them.
Yeah, I don't want them. If you want them, get them out of here.
So what was it after we found out that the quarter was loaded full of like an inch thick worth of mud?
There was a dent and a big rust hole, I think, and
whatever,
it was filled full of mud. It's pretty common.
Weren't you there? And you're like, isn't that a '79 Malibu right there in the parking lot?
My Sawzall. It was my Sawzall. Yeah.
I specifically remember you cut the quarter off, and like they had a bunch of clothes in the trunk. All of their clothes were in the trunk, and we're like, fuck, do you think the landlord was wrong about these cars? Like,
yeah,
what?
Like, why? There's like people's stuff in here still.
What was it? A week later, there was like 2 patrol cars in the parking lot, and they're like, did you see anything going on over here? And we're like, oh no, oh weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, if you want to come in and look at my buddy's Nova,
dude, they were interviewing us in the garage with the same car right behind us, and we're like, oh, we're fucked, dude.
You had the chunk of the quarter panel in the back seat.
I don't remember exactly, but that was a good time. And then I sold it to Zach, and
what did he do? He sold it to somebody else and for like twice what he bought it from you for.
Yeah. See, I've hooked Zach up before.
That's true. He should be more grateful.
So after the '79 Malibu, then so Zach sold me I don't remember what year it was, but it was remember when everybody got super into mopeds? No.
Oh.
Everybody got super into mopeds, and Zach and Matt Moloch helped me build a Sears Springer. I think it was a Springer too, with a Puch. I can't remember what size engine it was.
70cc kit.
Yeah, 70cc kit.
They had like a Transtar kit on it or something, or no, K-Star.
It was a K-Star kit, and we're just like Matt was like a mad scientist down in his basement, and he knew everything to do, and he's like, yeah, this will do like 45 miles per hour. And I specifically remember I would take that thing and like drive it like it was a motorcycle, but I would go down Highway 2 and I would just be pedaling at like 45 miles an hour next to cars on like Highway 2, and I'd be like, sup? And like, it was the funnest thing ever.
Yeah,
and then
you were kind of sketchy on those. You were like swerving all over the place, and I was like, that thing is not designed for that kind of
probably not
kind of load. He's gonna fold a rim or something.
I've had pretty good luck with 2 wheels. I don't know. I haven't lost any limbs, but so this is kind of a starting off point. The moped, I had that for a couple of years, and I was talking to Zach because Zach was getting into motorcycles. I had been following, I don't know, I got into like cafes a lot just because I like the history of cafes, and I know a lot of the Harley guys are like, whatever, dude.
Gay.
Like, yeah, I mean, they're just like, it's not a Harley. Take it home.
It's like the Ford guys and Chevy Motors or whatever. It's like, if it's not Harley, it's not a motorcycle, and you can fuck right off.
Yeah. So anyway, I researched these Yamaha. The XS 650 was basically a super cheap bike to get into, and there's huge aftermarket for them, so you could hardtail them. You could do a bobber, you could do a cafe, just whatever you want. So I ended up selling the Springer too for like, mopeds were like super hot at the time.
They're still super expensive.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I think I got like $550 for that thing.
I feel like that would be $800 or $900.
I might have got more. I don't remember how much I got. I don't remember shit like that. But it was enough. And Zach and I found this kid out in is it Norfolk?
I don't know. I wasn't there, bud.
What's clear up north?
Norfolk, right above Columbus.
So the weird, funny thing about the Yamaha was, so we find this kid selling it. He had a $1,200 price tag on it. We drive up there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let me go get it." He's like, trying to roll it out of his barn. He lived on a farm. He's trying to roll it out of his barn. The brake is seized.
You just said it was running and driving.
That's what I said. And I'm like, well, dude, I can't test the transmission. I can't test the clutch. I can't do anything. I'm like, we just drove like almost 4 hours to pick this thing up, and I don't know what I'm getting. I'm like, I will offer you $400. So I lowballed him, and he's like, I kind of felt bad because he was like a 17-year-old kid. And he's like, let me go talk to my dad. And he's like mad about it. And he goes inside, he comes back out, and he's like, would you do $550? Like, in my head, I'm like, damn, that is a good deal. I'm like, Zach, should I do this? He's like, dude, it's just a brake caliper. It's fine. It's going to be fine. And like, and dude, I'm like, dude,
get him with $475.
No, I'm like, dude, all I have is hundreds. I can't give you $550. And Zach's like, wait, I think I have some cash. And he had $37 in his pocket. I'm like, would you take $537? He's like,
let me go talk to my dad.
Yeah, I'll take it. And so we picked it up. So my Yamaha was $537. And then I just...
a very random number, but now the story makes sense.
Yeah.
I always thought you were just making that up. Like, oh yeah, I paid $537 for it. Like,
no, and what's even more funnier is I basically more or less traded a moped for a 650 nice, decent motorcycle. I mean, it needed work. They had the carbs all messed up.
You still have that bike?
Yeah, I still have it. It's in Zach's garage.
Was that a 79 also?
That was also a 79.
So we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4 79s, if I'm doing my math right.
3. Impala, Malibu.
Oh, the moped wasn't.
Hammer. I don't know what year that was.
It was probably about a 79. Because all my Pooks, I think, are like 77, 80s, something like that.
Yeah.
That gold one's an 80, and I think my other one was a 77. My Hobbit is a 78. Man, times were so much cooler back then.
That's what everybody says. Simple times.
Simple times.
Instead you're chasing money and
I think
trying to get ahead.
Everybody's always been chasing money. I think it was probably a little easier to get ahead back in the day.
Doesn't it make you wonder if, like, I don't know, like Zach's probably doing it right. Live simple and easy and save your money and keep it freaking simple, dude. Instead of trying to get a bigger house and more shit that you don't have time to get to. And
yeah, if I would have done it all over again, I would have bought a 2-bedroom brick ranch or something for $75,000 back in the day.
You can't do that. You have 3 kids.
Well, yeah, to start. And then I would have been able to have a rental property out of it and could have, slowly moved up the chain that way. Especially for what they're getting for rent nowadays.
Dude, isn't that nuts? Have you looked at Nebraska's cost of living?
No.
I don't think it's like abnormally, like the amount we pay in healthcare is above the average, and then Omaha is cheaper than Lincoln. It's cheaper to live in Omaha than it is in Lincoln.
Property taxes?
No, like rent prices. If you look at rent prices.
Yeah, rent is they're building apartments like crazy around here, and rent is, I don't even know. Somebody said the cheapest. I think Aaron said the cheapest.
I don't think you can
2-bedroom apartment was $850.
That seems cheap.
Yeah, that's the cheapest. Like, that's probably in the ghetto.
Yeah, I don't think you can get a studio anymore for under $700. A studio, that means one room, kitchen's in the room, all that. Like, you're talking 600 to 700 square feet if you're lucky.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems ridiculous with how expensive everything's getting.
Well, I mean, Lincoln's building in every direction possible, so that's... I don't know where all the jobs are in this town. I don't understand it.
I don't know. There's a lot of money floating around in construction. I can tell you that right now. People are spending money like crazy, and it's probably just cheap money. Loans are at an all-time low. Everybody's got a bunch of equity in their houses now. Mm-hmm. So they go and pull a second mortgage out, and now I've got 50 grand to go put a deck on or, do an addition or whatever.
If you're single income, I don't know how you can afford, like, I think I got lucky with my house with the timing. It was right when we went into lockdown in 2020, it would have been.
Yeah, that was a fucked up situation because
Yeah, it was.
You got furloughed or whatever the week
I was
before you were supposed to close.
Yeah. And then after all of that, all the prices were going up. And it was like my house was listed for, I think, a low 122 or 123. And there were still, it was still a bidding war on it.
Which is insane because 8 years ago, that would have been maybe an $80,000 house.
And today, like, if you look at Zillow, it's valued between 150 and 170.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, oh, I wouldn't pay that for it now. Like, what?
Yeah, you're lucky I paid 120 for it.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a
huge shortage of houses. There's not enough on the market.
I haven't checked back in, but like 2 years ago, there were like, what were they saying? Like 6 or 7 buyers per house every time one went up for sale. So there was questions you were going to get into a bidding war.
I forget.
I don't know what it's like now.
I think it's slowed down a little bit, but it's still up there. I know there was only like 300 houses on the market or something at the height, 360 or, at the lowest point. And when Lincoln's growing, I don't know, what do we have? 300 and some odd thousand people now, probably more than that.
So I think if you look at the average sale of a home today, the average cost of a home in Lincoln, Nebraska is like $217, and it's like, if you're single income, average income, I don't know how you could afford that payment unless you've got a big savings and you put a huge down payment on.
Well, nobody does that anymore.
I don't know how you can. It's like think about it. Say you're coming out of an apartment and you're paying $1,200 a month for an apartment.
Hard to save money for sure. I get that, but we also blow money like crazy.
Well, I think there's this mentality that we deserve to, own all this stuff, and we deserve to live like
keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, I think there's that mentality. So you have to keep that in check. But
how many people? What's the longest you've ever owned a car for? Like that you drove daily. People don't keep cars very long. They're like 3 years is like, I think, the average for a car.
I think the Lincoln LS is maybe the car I owned.
You did have that for a long time.
I had that for maybe 4 or 5 years.
You had it longer than that, didn't you?
I may have. I don't know. I moved to California with it, and I was out there for almost 2 years. And then I came back, had it for another couple of years.
Yeah.
I bet it was like 6, 7 years I had that thing. I don't know.
I'm trying to
think. That was a decent car. I like that car.
I think I've had the white truck for 7 years now, almost 8.
Before the Lincoln LS. You remember the LeBaron?
Oh God, I love the LeBaron.
There's only one LeBaron, Freddie.
There's only one LeBaron Spike. I remember donuts. And by donuts, I mean you had a donut on the front wheel and burnouts.
27th and O Street.
27th and O Street is exactly what I was thinking of. And behind Home Depot. The North Home Depot ripping e-brake slides. Yeah. That was good times.
It's good times.
Real good times.
Yeah, the LeBaron was a graduation gift. My mom had just got a new car, and they're like,
"Can you explain to me why you had to pump up the e-brake, or was that just all bullshit?"
No, it was. I mean, it seemed like. I mean, it was a cable operated e-brake still, but it seemed like it was fluid because there was something like. Have you ever looked at the mechanism for? Obviously,
it's like
you
a
have
ratcheting thing.
Yes, it's like a little ratcheting thing, and the tooth on the actual handle was so wore down that you would be lucky if it caught where it needed to catch.
Why would that be wore down? It's an automatic. Nobody uses a damn e-brake in an automatic.
I mean, tray sliding was big back then.
That's true. Yeah.
You roll over a couple of trays and
I've never
YouTube tray sliding. I have
never
great time.
Tray slid a car.
Well,
I feel like
I didn't so much tray slide as it was like I loved winners, and I would take corners and just leave the e-brake on and like just drift, like for as long as I could.
Yeah.
And
probably ended up in somebody's yard a couple times.
Yeah, like several. It was the truck. The truck was worse.
The truck scared the hell out of me.
That was the first time I've ever seen you scared. Actually,
I was so scared. I thought we were gonna hit that pole, and then when we came around the corner, I thought we were gonna slam into my neighbor's car.
Your face. I didn't know what was going to happen either at that point, and I didn't expect to lose that much control. But
we were going directly at a pole.
Your face was like, Spike, I have kids now. Like, your face was like, yeah, dude, you.
I don't think I had kids yet.
I think you did. I think at least Jackson was born.
Maybe. It might have been.
It was just like one of those random times where I was like, I was driving by and there's Mike. I'm like, Mike, hop in. I'm like, check this out. And I was in 4-wheel drive.
We went down to the gas station for something.
Yeah, I would imagine it was beer.
Yeah.
And then we're just like drifting around the neighborhood, and then I lost control, and the truck went completely sideways. And it was like slow motion. And it was other weird thing is
it's always slow motion.
It was silent. There was no noise, and it was just dead silent. And I'm looking over at you, and I'm like, I don't know. And you're just like, you froze.
Yeah, I was locked up. I was like grabbing.
But there was a car on this side of the street, car on that side of the street, and the truck just completely perpendicular slid right between them. And it was like
that was when you almost hit the neighbor's car. Do you remember the pole down there coming out of the gas station? He whipped it out of the gas station so hard, it came back, snapped. We were pointing back south again, and there's a pole that's this big around, like one of the Highline poles, and it's going straight at it. I'm like, oh, that was when I first got scared.
Yeah.
Good times. Absolutely.
I don't like, so I haven't stopped doing that in the winter. I still do that. And actually, I was over by Zach's house, and I was in the parking lot over there, and
I think I've seen you whipping shitters in the snow.
If there's no people around, it's just like...
Oh, I still try to see how long I can hold it sideways.
Yeah.
That's just a daily occurrence when there's snow and ice.
I mean, why should you give that up?
It's the only thing that makes me feel alive.
Snow drifting.
Snow drifting.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't always drink a beverage out of an aluminum can. But when I do...
how'd that video work out for you?
Which one?
I don't know, the one we did.
I didn't really figure out how I could gain anything from it. Everybody said it was fucking awesome.
That's good.
I've had literally like Travis said, do that. Travis Edwards. Oh. The guy that gave you a negative.
Thanks, Travis. By the way, thank you. I don't know why that happened.
He wants to be on the podcast too.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he was like, dude, that video that you and Spike put out was fucking awesome. That was sweet.
I think cool. If anything, it's a much different perspective than your YouTube videos are. Like, you're not going to sit down and give that sort of background.
No, but it was actually working with you. That's kind of like the first time I've ever done any videography type
Was it
stuff.
really?
Actual, like, besides the stuff we did back in the day when we'd run around town and record stuff. But just setting up frames and setting up shots and then doing multiple camera angles on everything for that anti-seize video, which I need to redo the thumbnail and the title for that because it's not catching traction because people literally think it's about anti-seize.
Well, when I watched it, I was like, okay, he's going to do something funny here because I'm like, he never shoots his videos this formal.
It was very,
you were on a tripod for every shot. Mm-hmm. You were cutting from like mediums to close-ups and I don't think it does it justice to watch it on a phone because on my phone, I couldn't tell, like, with each shot, your
really
hands were
couldn't see it?
progressively getting worse with anti-seize. It's funny because anti-seize, the funny thing is, like, anti-seize is the devil. Like, it's just, it gets everywhere.
Zach goes, why are you getting anti-seize all over my wrench? As he called me when he watched the video. And I was like, I think, dude, it's face paint. It's not anti-seize. He's like, bullshit, that's anti-seize. I said, it's not anti-seize. You think I would rub that shit all over my body? No. That stuff sticks with you for a while. No way. No way in hell would I do that.
Yeah.
But
so what
I
you're saying?
I ended up recolor grading every single frame in that to make the
yucky, dude.
It's super easy with DaVinci. I think there was only like 18 different shots to just recolor grade. So I don't know what I turned up or down, but I made it so the silver popped more, basically. Because the first time we watched it, rendered it the first time or whatever, I knew it was there, but you couldn't really see it as good as I wanted it to, because I think everything, the color with the lights, it was so overexposed almost that it didn't stand out. So,
well, when I watched it back, like on my, actually, I think I watched it on the TV. I could see it way better on the TV.
Yeah.
But by the end, I got what you were doing, and I was like, I can't believe Brandy let you do that.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
I liked Eric's hashtag. He said, make Brandy's butt go viral.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's pretty good. She's like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I couldn't tell you guys were forced acting at all. That was also funny to me.
Turns out I'm not the best.
Did she walk in like that? Was she like, what do I do with my fucking hands? Like,
that was the best take out of like 75.
Was she pissed at you by the end? Like, was she?
No,
like...
I think it. I don't know if she enjoyed it or not, but I think she. I don't know what she thought.
You know,
to be honest with
Andy
you.
Warhol said everybody gets 15 minutes of fame.
Everybody.
Everybody in some form they get 15 minutes. Maybe that was hers.
Hey,
I hope not.
Make her butt go viral. Yeah, I need to do some clickbait with like a handprint on her ass, and then everybody will click on it, and then they'll watch it.
You could actually auction those pants off now.
Oh.
Have you thought of that?
Yeah. What is that, an NFT or whatever? You could like make a digital thing of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we going to get into that? Are we going to talk about
cryptocurrencies? I don't care. I need to get another beer if we're going to do that.
I don't think it's necessarily cryptocurrency. I think...
What is NFTs?
NFT is non-fungible token.
Yes.
Well, let's just get into.
Was it the angry cat or grumpy cat or something? They made the original file. They made that an NFT, but there's a billion pictures of that online. So what's the point of buying a certified version?
I think the certified version, number one, assigns the copyright holder, and two, it assigns one owner. There's only one. It can't so
does that person now instantly get copyright laws? Like, I see you using my freaking cat.
I think it's shared. I think the copyright is shared. Like, the person who created it is the copyright holder, and they're granting rights to the purchaser. But what I find to be insane, and everyone's talking about NFTs right now, if you look into the actual dollar value, what are they worth? Well, all of these artists, from what I understand, there's all of these artists, digital creators, 3D visual artists, all this stuff. And it can be anything. It can be an image too. It can be a 2D image. They're auctioning these NFTs off on different sites, and the highest amount I've seen sell for is like $69 million. So that's
69.
I don't know if that starts as cyber currency. I don't know if it was purchased with cyber currency and then
I believe it has some sort of contractual built into the blockchain that it's on.
Okay, so here's the whole entire other world that's starting to be built, and this is what's weird is it's in its infancy, is the metaverse. and everyone's talking about the metaverse.
What is the metaverse for sure? Because I kind of have started seeing a little bits and pieces of it. It's like you go to the grocery store and you just have like your VR goggles on and you just like walk in there and pick out what you want and it shows up at your door.
Yeah, so I think maybe a lot of people think the metaverse is yet to be created, but it already exists, and there's already it's more or less a alternate reality where you create an avatar.
So I could have a 6-pack abs.
You can do whatever you want,
and I could be like just trick babes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, you could be that dude, that greasy, weird.
Do you think that those people aren't fucking doing that?
Oh, absolutely.
That's all they're doing it for. Their life sucks, so
and
they're
just
living
imagine
in a virtual
imagine
reality.
what's going to happen. Okay, let me get through what I understand the metaverse as.
I keep cutting you off.
But so the metaverse, there's already worlds created on the metaverse that you can either enter on your desktop gaming system, or you can get like the Oculus VR goggles and you can do the VR world thing. So you're actually like, you've got hand things and you're moving your arms and all this stuff. But there's like 5 or 6 games right now that are popular, and there's a couple of them where you can actually play for you can play to earn. So you can actually earn real cyber currency in these games. Like some of them. So
like a cryptocurrency or
like Ethereum.
Oh, you can. Oh, Ether. I might have to get in on that.
You can. So here's the weird thing. Here's where NFTs come in. Okay. There's a game called, I can't think of the name. It's like, it was one of the first metaverses created, and it's similar to like, I think it's kind of similar to like Minecraft, but a little more, there's more graphics to it. But anyway, NFTs come into play because, so like, you're in this world, and say you want to play a poker game. Like, it's just like a virtual world. You can walk around in the streets, blah, blah, blah.
But do you physically walk around your apartment?
No, like, I mean, you can use your thumb toggle thing to move your whatever. Or if you're like, because some people are on their desktop playing. But
so they're not really fully immersed in it because they don't have the VR goggles on. They're just staring at a screen.
Some of them, yes. But why Zuckerberg's gonna change things is basically he's subsidizing the cost of these goggles right now, and he wants everyone to get them. But he's going to start incorporating like social media apps in his world.
Yeah, because they just changed their name to Meta, didn't they?
Yeah, so in like a year, maybe sooner than that, 2 years, you're going to scroll through Facebook or Instagram, and you're going to be like, look what so-and-so did in the metaverse. Like, did you know that Justin Bieber had a live concert in the metaverse that was only in the metaverse?
That's weird. I think I would have got
some information
on that on
did you get
Biebs
tickets
Weekly.
to ZZ Top and like in the metaverse, like in the, pterodactyl world? Like, I don't know.
It's fucking bullshit.
So anyway, the NFTs.
How come Biebs Weekly didn't let me know that he was doing that?
I don't know. I'm pissed about it. So, where NFTs come into play is back to this poker game. So there's this world in the metaverse that, say you want to play a game of poker, to even get in to play on a table, you have to have a jacket. You have to have an NFT jacket to play at that poker table. What people are doing is they are renting, like there was only like, say, 50 of these jackets created. They're NFTs. They're digital, basically, tokens. They only exist in the metaverse. What people are doing, and these poker games, you can win Ethereum or whatever real money. You can win like ICE, they call it, and then it's transferred to Ethereum.
Meth?
Not meth. Oh. It's not meth.
Not meth.
Okay, so what people are doing with these jackets are renting them out now, like, because there's only so many, so they're renting them out to other players, collecting a commission off their winnings because they're wearing the NFT jacket.
They get a percentage of it.
Right. So it's creating this whole economy of its own. And I think I read a recent Forbes article that said in the next couple of years the entire workforce is going to change, because like what Facebook is going to try to do is like everybody's already on Zoom and stuff. There's a lot of people in America working. Yeah. There's a lot of people in America working from home. They're doing the Zoom, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, the stepping stones are there. The breadcrumbs are there. You're already doing this stuff on Zoom.
COVID kind of forced everything that way. Maybe it was by design.
I don't know. I'll never know. Well, maybe not in our lifetime.
Maybe Jesus. Maybe when we meet Jesus, he'll let us know.
Maybe omnipotent Jesus knows. So everybody's they've been warmed up to this digital, workplace. They're going to create these workplace environments in VR.
Though they're only going to get better for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I mean, you're going to be able to shop. You're going to be able to.
Yeah, I seen a video of one from Walmart. Walmart made a metaverse.
So
it's a cart, and you got hands on the cart, and there's a lady right there, and she'll grab and set it in your cart, and then the aisle disappears, and then it pops up with the new one.
And then Amazon shits it on your porch, and it's there.
Yeah. Shits it?
Yeah. That's usually what they do, isn't it?
Comes right out of
They're
Amazon.
They're like, fucking, here's your package.
I don't know. Our guy seems pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
Speaking of Amazon, this is completely off topic, but Kevin and Tony bought one of those pallets, those Amazon pallets.
What's that about?
I don't know. We're supposed to go out there tonight and check it out.
What? You can buy an Amazon pallet?
Yeah, it's just all the return stuff or open boxes.
Oh my God. But you don't know what's on it?
You don't know what's on it.
What if it's just like a bunch of like bouncy balls or like, what are you going to do with that? Resell it?
I don't think it's just like, here's a pallet full of bouncy balls.
It could be like
it's super random stuff. I think there's like giant Fender tow mirrors and like a dog walker, like leash harness thing or something.
Oh
it's just
God.
Randomness. It's kind of like probably Storage Wars, but for Amazon purchases. So, you might find some good stuff in there. Well, Gary Vaynerchuk, you watch any of his stuff? He's really big on the NFTs right now. Yeah,
I think he has been. And I did watch his Zuckerberg interview, and that's a good one to listen to because he's been working on this VR stuff for like the last 7 years. So it's nothing. He's just now releasing it to the public.
Facebook,
Zuckerberg, yeah. But it's insane what he's going to do. I mean, the way he's presenting it is like the internet is it's going to blow up, dude. It's going to rebirth how people interact online. Like, and if you think about it,
who's making stuff though? Like,
what do you mean?
Who's making all the stuff? If everybody is just sitting in their house working in a virtual world.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, who's making things?
You're talking about like who's going to build a wooden table?
Who's going to build a table?
Who's going to build houses?
Who's going to build the products that get shipped from Amazon?
Here's what I think. I think it's maybe going to be a good thing because, okay, let's say there's people out on YouTube claiming that they're making an income off of the metaverse. They're making like a marginal like $1,200 a month. You could I
would enjoy that.
If you had maybe another income source, like you could survive off that. So let's say you get this new generation of people who are making a living with goggles on their head.
But not everybody's going to be able to do that. Who's killing the cows that we're eating, or who's growing the plants?
I know not everybody's
or who's
that's why I'm saying
literally like a section of society is completely locked off in their house, just living.
They already are, dude.
Virtual world.
Look at.
And then
they already are.
The other half are just like the slaves that make everything work.
Well, that's actually good.
I would rather
like
be building stuff.
Yeah, that's good for you.
I could not sit in my house for longer than a day.
I know, but don't you think that that's good for you? That's going to
it's fucking terrible. There's not enough good people to work.
People are going to be like, jobs. I need a VR room built.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I can't hire anybody, and I'm just one person, so dude, it's an 18-year wait list.
Okay, but think about it.
No, there needs to be some people out there contributing to society. They can't all just be beaten off in fucking virtual world.
Dude, there's no way that
I don't know. I think it's retarded.
I think look at how many people are on Facebook right now. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest. Is it the biggest social media
That's why
platform?
The Matrix, the very first Matrix was such an impactful movie because like literally these goggles, you could be seen as that little like shell that like that you're born in.
Because weren't they all just living in pods and they were using
and then
energy
they
or
just
something?
had something connected to their brain where the Matrix is.
Well, Elon Musk has that Neuralink.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I think they already put it in chimpanzees, and they're talking about next year or this year, I guess.
Testing it on humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to make it so you can basically, your brain can.
Elon Musk is interesting
Google
because
and the internet.
Elon Musk is interesting because he actually, in the
I like listening to the way he talks and the things he talks about.
Yeah, he's from South Africa, isn't he? That's where he was born, I think.
He doesn't look a day past.
I think he went from South Africa and then he avoided like a draft or something, went to Canada and then ended up coming to school in America, and like he built everything from the ground up, which is impressive. And
because he started PayPal, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think he sold.
He sold, or it was part of it.
So anyway, what I find interesting is he's cautioning people with AI and all this other technology, but he's dumping a bunch of his own research into it. I think he's trying to do things the right way, but will you ever know? I don't know.
The problem is once machine learning becomes as fast and powerful as it's already starting to become, that you can't shut it off, I don't think.
Well, back to the metaverse and its own economy thing and what it's going to do to the job force and all of that. My brain just says anyone with a mentality that wants, like,
get in on the ground floor.
Anybody with that mentality, do you want them working for you anyway? Or would they even be able to handle it? No. So go to the metaverse and make a living in there. I don't know. Like, don't need them. And then what's that going to do to pricing? What's that going to do to labor rates? Like, we've been saying it for years, the flip-flop of pay grades for like
doctors
hands-on
versus like plumbers is going to be
plumber's
going to be worth twice as much as a doctor in the future.
I don't know what the actual stats on this are, but I'm pretty sure they're doing some surgeries with robotics. Are they not? I've seen some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'll send little drones down, cell-sized drones down.
How many times have you checked out at the grocery store with one of those self-checkout things?
I try not to because they never seem to work.
Yeah,
please put your package on the blah 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 in the bag.
Well, they're trying to make sure you're not stealing shit.
Yeah, I know, but I've heard of most people steal a lot from those things.
Yeah, everything has a weight, and if you don't put it on the scale, they're like, well, where is it then? Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
But that's not the metaverse. That's just automating because employees got too expensive.
Yeah, but it's the machine versus man thing. That's what
cars are.
Yeah, I know. Everything's going that way. But it's just, you can see it. You can see it coming. You can see humans.
It's definitely getting more intertwined with the internet as the internet gets better and faster and more realistic, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I think the really weird, like, philosophical, this is weird or whatever, but the philosophical thing is, what is reality then? If you can make a living in the metaverse, is like, there's people so fascinated with gaming, digital worlds, all this, like, you could never take it away from them. And they would probably make an argument that
is more reality than their average.
What is reality?
If you can average life.
If you can see and feel, like, if you can see and feel and make a living and like, It's weird to think about, but
Can you procreate in the metaverse?
can you smell? No, you can't.
I bet you can.
I'm sure they'll get
movie theaters pump smells in, I think.
smell-o-vision. They used to. I think there was a time.
Yeah, and
when
they
they
like
did that.
they turn the AC down if it's like a cold scene or something, and they fuck with your.
I think there was a
sensories.
time where they did that.
Smell-o-vision.
There was like a decade they tried that or something.
Yeah.
But that's what's really interesting about our generation. And the other thing that's interesting, and I'm thankful for it, is that we grew up in the 90s and we have a bipolar relationship with technology where we can be like, I'm putting the phone away. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, we have half of our life or a third of our life without technology, and we can handle being without it.
Yeah, like the most high-tech thing we had was a remote control car with a wire connecting to the controller.
Yeah, that always cuts out and sucks, and the batteries die every 2 seconds.
Yeah, Well, I don't know. I've always loved building stuff by hand or with my hands and trying to take things apart and figure out how they work. So, to me, I don't know. I like all the free software. I like the fact that I'm, editing all of my videos with DaVinci Resolve, and it's an amazing software.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Yeah.
And if I want to buy the paid version, it's only like $300. So it compared to Adobe, how much is Adobe? What do you pay for your Adobe?
Adobe Suite, like if you want the full Creative Cloud and you don't have any sort of business discount, if you're an individual, I think it's like $600 a year. I think somewhere around there. It's in between $500 and $600 a year. That's for everything. That's Premiere, InDesign.
How much?
Like $600 a month, or I'm sorry, $600 a year.
Yeah, well, Resolve is free and it seems to work pretty good.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, I still use Photoshop. I still use After Effects.
Yeah,
and Lightroom is the big one for photography, especially if you're doing bulk editing or batch editing. Like,
sorry, I got slightly distracted because your camera is doing weird stuff right now.
Is it recording that way?
I don't know if it's getting hot. There's a picture-in-picture that keeps popping up, so I don't know if it's. We'll just go to the wide angle and call it a day. Yeah, we're working out some loopholes here, but yeah, I don't know. I like the fact that technology is getting as good as it is, and it's becoming affordable. My dad just got a 3D printer, and I'm downloading free software and figuring out how to use it to make things and try to make parts or whatever out of stuff. So,
what's funny about like social media is, when is the last time you like heard a story, like a heartfelt story about social media? Like, you see little video clips every once in a while about like this heartfelt thing, like, oh, they dropped off a car to, this charity, and this charity was super excited. But how often do you hear about the positive benefits of social media as opposed to like everybody's negativity either on it or surrounding it? Like, to me, what I find the general kind of undertone to social media
just
being
talking shit.
It's
or
negative,
like bitching
dude.
About like, this motherfucker cut me off in traffic, I spilt my coffee, or like baby daddies, or like
It gives
this dumb motherfucker, and it's almost all negative. Or you don't hear a lot of positivity.
You don't.
Our society is built on negativity.
Well, at least on social media, it's like a bathroom wall, and it brings out the worst in everybody. Like, maybe not for everybody, but it seems like there's a big majority of negativity on social media, which sucks. And do you think the metaverse is going to be any different? Like, it's eventually...
Actually, I heard that there was because the metaverse is in beta, and I don't remember if it's
No,
Facebook's.
there's a game called... You're mixing it up. The metaverse is not Facebook. The metaverse is the world...
Okay, well...
The alternate reality... And there's a bunch of different worlds inside
of it. It's like going to a different town.
Facebook is in beta mode with Horizons. It's a game called Horizons. That's their beta version.
Well, whatever. I don't know if it was Facebook's or whatever, but somebody's And the first sexual harassment allegation has happened. A girl physically got groped, which I'm not sure how that happens, but she got groped in the metaverse, and she was suing, and it was in some beta test. Like, so do hands physically come and grab your breasts when you're in the metaverse? No. So your avatar got sexually harassed?
Like, I think...
And that hurts your... like.
The Facebook Horizons, you don't even have legs. Like, they can't... they don't even have legs programmed.
So we're amputees now?
You're amputees. You just float around like a legless...
Oh, it's like the...
fucking ghost.
Oh, what the hell was it? The Wii. When you had the Wii and you made your
like
me.
That.
You made your me on the Wii.
Yep. That's what it's like right now. But...
Yeah, I don't get it. It's not reality. If you're getting groped, like... And that hurts your... Like... I guess people say stuff, so you hear what they say. You don't physically feel
that's almost as bad as like that kid trying to sue Nirvana for...
Oh yeah,
sexual...
the naked baby. Yeah, he's made so much money on that. How many chicks?
No, they dismissed the case, I think.
Yeah, he goes...
Oh, you mean from
that
past till now?
Yeah,
I'm sure, but
because he goes for like the 10, 15 year whatever and shows up to the party for the 15-year anniversary, or whatever it was. He's got a Nirvana tattoo on his ass or something. That guy's so full of shit. He's like, here's a cash cow. They me too'd me. They were supposed to blur my little pickle out. Screw off, dude.
Yeah, his dad is the one who made that decision. Like, how are you going to...
Yeah, hate your dad. Don't hate Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, no shit. And so what I think naturally will come from that is he's gonna have a sucky life, dude. You don't fucking shit on Nirvana.
What is he? He's like 30 some years old now.
Yeah, he's definitely sowed his future. Like, he's...
Yeah, but does anybody really know who he is? Like,
they do now.
I don't know what he looks like.
Like I said, everybody gets their 15 minutes.
If I saw him in the... Well, that's true, I guess. Maybe that was his time to shine. And
that was it.
He really shit the bed on that one.
Yeah, I was famous for my penis and then suing Nirvana. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is kind of weird to have a baby dick on their album cover, but...
It was, like, it's very... Like, you don't forget that image, though. Like,
yeah, no, actually, if you look right there...
Do you have it?
The cover is... Yeah, it's hanging up. That was the first CD I ever bought.
That was the first CD you ever bought?
Yeah, first CD.
The first CD I ever bought was...
There you go. It's a little dusty.
Rage Against the Machine, Evil Empire.
You mean Rage on the behalf of the machine?
Yes.
Those guys are fucking... Ugh.
I enjoyed them when I was a teenager.
I did too. I enjoyed Rage Against the Machine.
It was Evil Empire. It was...
Let me see. Yeah, there it is.
Can you get it?
Yeah.
Are you going to get sued for this?
Probably.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain was he was an artist.
He was a tortured soul, but that tends to be the people that are the best at their trade.
Yeah, I think they say there's a lot of art that comes from torture.
Yeah, I think it all does, because it kind of, I don't know, you get kind of a warped perspective on life, and so it kind of is able to see things from a different angle.
Yeah, Bourdain was another one that you're like, damn, dude, this guy.
That was a traveling food guy.
Yeah, but he was probably the coolest version of, like, sure, it was about food and stuff, but more or less he was kind of like a philosopher poet.
Food is something that everybody needs. I mean, I like to eat.
Yeah, you gotta eat.
Yeah, so.
But some
could say that's the most important.
He was into the good stuff, dude. Like, he was into, like, the right music, and he was into the, like, right book scene, and like, he was just in, like, Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He was into, like, the taboo kind of off the beaten path stuff, and he used food as his vehicle to travel the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the goal right there, is to find something you love and then figure out how to make a really good living at it.
Well, that's the weird thing. Like, even for me, I'm so just everything is automotive industry for me. Like, I go to work surrounded by I mean, it's everything. It's my side work is all of it, and usually I don't get tired of it. But it's weird that
it's a burnout. You can get burned out.
I do get burned out.
And I get burned out a lot.
And it's mostly because my social life has also become my work life. I've been thinking about that, like.
Yeah, especially for you, for like the car shows and stuff like that. Everybody's like, hey, are you recording this? Like, dude, are my pictures done? The ones you took of my car at the birthday cruise?
Yeah. No, it's you don't get an off switch sometimes, and that's when you reach burnout. It would be like if you were doing drywall all day, and then you got to get home and you're like, hey, Brandy's like, so are you gonna fucking finish the wall here at home?
Hey babe, it's time for you to finish the drywall, okay?
And then you get another 5 hours of it at home, and then you get to go to bed and do it all over again. But I don't know, I think
that's how the basement was, doing the basement. But once I start a project, I'm usually fairly focused. I'll get burned out after a certain amount of time, but I kind of it takes over my everything about me, and it's like, okay, this is it. It's got to get done.
Yeah, you're a typical car guy. Every car guy is just manic about projects. Like,
I'm a little bipolar and schizo and just all over the place, because like
I think I am too. Where like you're like, oh yeah,
shiny syndrome, like shiny.
I need
shiny
a posi,
object.
and then you drag all the shit home for that, and then you're like, well, I still got to build a motor for the Chevelle. I got a Prelude to build, and
there's a 12 bolt right there.
Yeah, and then it sits in the corner until you're ready for it.
Yeah, there's a 6-liter for the Chevelle too over there.
I will say that I'm surprised that I don't get burnt out of it all the time. I think the thing that keeps you motivated, or the thing that keeps me motivated, is guys like Ben, where he's just busts his ass. Guys like you, Ben. I recently just started shooting stuff with Exotic Customs. Those dudes, like, their drive will push me, because it's like, these dudes are fucking, like, multiple days a week, they're up till 4 a.m. just trying to make it. They're just trying to
figure out the next thing and get that thing done.
They're making deadlines. They're trying to meet deadlines, but they're so driven that it's like they want to make the next step. And
that old adage or saying or whatever, it's, show me your friends, I can show you your future.
Yeah.
Or,
they say the people
you hang out with, if you're not going anywhere in life, surround yourself with new friends or better friends.
Yeah, they say the closest 5 people around you are going to reflect your life, like the closest. Like, so
if you
better not be hanging around fucking burnouts.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've only met 2 or 3 highly functional potheads that were motivated. Maybe 5.
Like, I feel like Joe Rogan's one of them. I know you haven't met him.
I've never met him. But
I don't think
they're out there, but I'd say majority of potheads are very alcohol the same way too. I guess anybody that uses a substance, it's hard to find people that can use a substance and still create. And not get distracted.
I think substance is just a way to
it's numb the day.
Well, I mean, some people take stress medication, and some people use alcohol or drugs to deal with their stress. So it's either like see a doctor for it or go to the gas station. I don't fucking know. It's I don't think everyone's gonna have the ambition to sit down at a computer, and it's like writing, dude. No, don't you feel like when you're sitting down to edit a video, it feels like you're trying to write like a story? It's really what it is. because that's what you're doing.
It was almost easier to edit that anti-seize
well, because
video
you were
because
shooting to edit. You weren't just willy-nilly shooting and then had to like puzzle it
put
together.
it all together. Yeah, because that's normally what I do. It's like, okay, I kind of have a start, do a bunch of shit in the middle, and then I have an end. And then I got to kind of sequence all the stuff in the middle to make it work.
What they teach you with any videography school that like, or the school of thought is 90% of the production is pre-production, which means you need to sit down, map it out. That's why like most major Hollywood films have already been storyboarded out, where every scene is drawn out. They know camera perspective. They know if it's a close-up, if it's a wide shot. I
literally wrote a script for the anti-seize one that had all of the
like
camera,
an AV script.
It was like camera sitting by fridge facing northeast.
That's pretty good.
Brandy walks into garage. Says,
and that
what
probably
the fuck's
took
on
more
your
time
face?
than it did to shoot it, didn't it? Or close to the same?
No, it took a lot. What did I say? How many gig? I mean, I took.
You told me it was like 20 gig.
Yeah, like
That's
20
a lot,
gig of
dude.
clips for a 3-minute video. It took a lot of clips. But yeah, no, I guess when I start writing, my creative juices get flowing a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so it's a little easier to kind of come up with those like harebrained ideas, or like I just started writing. I didn't even think I was going to have Brandy in it at all. The anti-seize one, I was just going to do it by myself. And then I actually wrote the end of the skit almost first, because I started writing the intro to it, and then I popped into my head, oh, I could slap Brandy in the ass and put fucking anti-seize all over her ass, and that would be hilarious and funny.
What was her reaction when you're like, well, here's what's going to happen?
I said, will you read this? And then I went back to work, and she read it, and she goes, it's pretty funny, but I don't know about it. And she goes, there's some grammatical errors. Is that the word?
It's not going to translate, Brandy.
Yeah.
It's not going to translate to video, Brandy.
We did do a little bit of improv stuff, like, add extra scenes in there to try to tie stuff together while we were editing it. But
I will say the only time I've ever had to actually script out any like
shoot or whatever
script or AV script was in college. It's the only time I ever had time to do that. Every client is like, here's what we want, here's the deadline, good luck. And it's like,
yeah, but you do it enough, it's like a tool. Now you have a tool, and you can kind of just, what you have to do, so you can just go with it. Like,
I think
what works, right? You need this angle, you need this perspective. You have to have a storyboard in your head, right? When they
sometimes
say,
sometimes it develops as you go, or you just shoot like you just have to cover your ass. You shoot enough to know, like, all right, if this clip's not going to cut it, I've got these 3 other clips I can use. If I need details, you have a folder of details. If I need establishing shots, here's a folder of establishing shots. If I need close-ups or, whatever transition moments, or like, you just shoot those. But when you're in the moment, that's what's fun about it, I think, is that's the creative part of all of it, is when you're in the moment and you see something, you're like, whoa, do that again. We need to do that again. Like, I don't know, when we were shooting your video, the coffee cup thing, I didn't even have an idea for it, but I just like the idea of like everybody knows coffee. Like, everybody can relate to drinking a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
And it, like,
everybody's made a cup of coffee.
It makes you relatable in a way. And the other thing is, like, you turn something small into, I don't know. It's weird.
A detail. It's like, it's painting the picture. Like, if you just walked out in the garage, you wouldn't. It's backstory. It's detail. It's adding to the depth of the video.
It does. I think you need things like that, though. You need things to remind people that you are relatable. And
I think some of the best YouTube channels do stuff like that are like relatable, or they show their mess ups. And for the longest time, I never wanted to show any mess ups. Like, I wanted to make it look like I knew how to do everything.
Well,
and then you just realize that I'm an idiot just like everybody else that's working on cars, and I make mistakes, and it takes me 48 attempts to paint a door.
I think there's only one principle that I like about doing those videos, is that there's no pressure. They're all unscripted, and it's like this. It's sitting down and just having a conversation, and you're like, well, I don't know where it's going to go, but we're just going to make something. And there's like fundamental like techniques in there that you wouldn't even think about, because it just feels so natural. Like you walking up to the door, opening it.
It's normal. It's every day.
Well, no, what I'm saying is technically, like, it's called a cutting on action shot. Like, you open the door and then all of a sudden perspective shifts to the garage, and you don't even think about it because it happened as you were opening the door. But automatically it puts you right in the garage. You change scenes, and it doesn't feel like a big like jump.
Yeah, you have to. It's really hard to try to, and since we did that video, I've been trying to kind of like not mimic, or like just take some of the stuff that I've learned throughout, with doing that, and incorporate into my basic videos. And what's up?
Can we certify something?
Another thing? We can talk about it later. All right. But
would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, who is this?
Hi, I'm Brielle.
You have to look into the camera, Brio.
So the camera's looking at you whether you want to look at it or not. But and that's why I like working with Ben, or going to Ben's shop, or even working at Derek's, is you learn things that you didn't know, and then now you can try to incorporate those into what you're doing.
I remember, so the Impala was originally a 4-speed, which means it has a specific cutout in the floor for that shifter or whatever.
Yeah.
But I put a low car, whatever their general floor mount shifter is.
Looks like a 4-speed kind of.
You can put the 4-speed attachment, like the T handle 4-speed looking thing. But anyway, it was never meant to have a low car style floor mount shifter in it. And so you got to figure out the linkage to the transmission. And I was like, dude, I can figure this out. And so they give you an assortment of brackets and whatever to install the thing. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like starting to give up, because you got to come off the shifter, loop around 180, come over to the shift paw, and figure out where to mount your bracket that holds it was a cable operated shifter. So then you have to figure out where you're going to mount that bracket. And the bracket they give you, I'm like, there's no way that I can use this bracket anywhere underneath, mount it, and get that cable to actuate the shift linkage. And I'm like, well, I don't fucking know what to do. And luckily Derek called me. He's like, what are you doing, bud? I'm like trying to fucking figure out this shifter. And he's like, I'll come over.
To the rescue.
He comes over and he crawls under the car, looks at it, and he never tells you what he's going to do. He just does it. And
and they say like a photographic brain's not real or whatever, but like I think it is. I think you can picture stuff in your head. Some people can't picture anything.
Some people are not gonna. They're not gonna explain it to you as good as they just show you. And Derek's like that. And so he comes over. He looks at this little. It's like a 90-degree bracket, and there's no place you can mount it. He's like, well, bud, you just gotta do this. And he's like, bing, bang, boom. And he like bends it up and gets it right. And he's like, all right, go screw that under there. And it just
like, I'm gonna have a beer while you bolt it all together.
I fumble with something for a few hours. He comes over in 5 minutes. He's like, there you go. You have a shifter now.
I think a lot of people are afraid to
modify aftermarket
stuff. Yeah, like they're like, well, it should just work. Why doesn't it work? What the hell? And it's like, no, just bend it. Just bend it and it'll work.
That was the lesson I learned out of that, was like, oh, yeah, you can modify this to make it work. Like, and that's a lot of building. What building is? It's problem solving.
When we were doing the Chevelle, when I had my broken arm, and it was like one day before the birthday cruise, and we hadn't started the car yet. We did the LS swap with the supercharger on it. Everybody was over here. Zach was
I think
the
I was
spark
here.
plug wires on that, and the boots did not fit. Like they
On
wouldn't
the
go
spark plug?
over the wires. The boots wouldn't go over the wires. And
Oh, yeah.
they're like, well, it's fucked. We're never gonna get it running. And it's like, but no, we're too close. Like we're too close. We're gonna make it run. So I just chucked up a 1/2-inch drill or whatever it was, drill bit in the drill press, and I was just going
Wallered it
up
out?
and down with the rubber silicone boot and just wallowing
I
it
feel
out.
like I've seen you do that more than once.
And I remember Brandon looks over here around the corner. He goes, God, he doesn't care about his fingers, or he really doesn't care for his fingers that much. And I was like, it'll be fine. And then it grabs and tears the shit out of the boot and rips it open. And I'm like, oh, God. Luckily, they gave us, I think there was 2 extra ones in that pack for some reason. So probably because that's the way they knew they
You
had to
drove
fit.
it that birthday cruise, didn't you?
Yeah,
Like
I
untuned, nothing.
and the supercharger snout wasn't sealed all the way, so it sucked all of the grease out of the back bearings, and it started howling like a stuck dog, and had to disconnect the belt and zip tie the air bypass open and drove it around like that the rest of the birthday cruise. Yeah, I think I'd went to bed at 3:30 at night.
You're one of the
Woke
only
up-
ones left that think that shit's still worth it.
Woke up at like fucking 7:30 probably, maybe. Didn't shower. Just fucking hadn't slept more than 15, probably maybe 20 hours all week. I mean, it was like 3-4 o'clock every single night, and then had to go to work, and then after work heading in the garage and just thrashing on it. And I had a broken arm, so my right arm was completely worthless, and broken wrist and elbow.
Did you fall off the ladder? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I was
In here?
far too intoxicated probably to be trying to go up to the loft to shake some paint, because I was going to prime the firewall, because I decided I wanted to shave the firewall, before I do an LS swap and all that stuff. And I'm really always super anal about setting the ladder up and making sure that it's, all 4 feet are on the ground. Well, it's midnight, 1 o'clock, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going to go up there and shake this real quick and squirt primer on it before I go to bed. Ladder walks, I'm like, 4 or 5 steps up. Ladder walks out from underneath me. I'm going backwards. I'm done.
That
And
was
so
the one you
I
didn't.
turn and try to jump off the ladder. Well, the ladder shoots out from underneath me, and I just fall directly on my palms, and my forehead just barely hits the ground.
I remember you were in some kind of sling or cast for like months, and you refused to see a doctor because of how expensive it was going to be.
No, I did go see. Actually, that was the day that Aaron interviewed to start working for me. It was Saturday morning.
Oh, really?
And he stuck
You're like,
his,
okay,
he stuck his
carry
hand
all my
out
stuff
to,
now.
to shake my hand, and I said, I'm pretty sure I broke my arm last night.
it was like your elbow or something, wasn't it?
It was my radio head, as I like to call it, and my skankfloyd.
Just say OK Computer. It was your Radiohead and OK Computer.
Yeah, my skankfloyd and Radiohead were broken, both wrist and elbow. And I went down to, I don't know, whatever, Link Care, one of those places.
Yeah, good doctors.
Yeah, great doctors. And they sat there forever, had to fill out, paid whatever, got the x-rays. The doctor comes in and he goes, well, according to the x-rays, everything looks fine. I don't see anything broken. Probably what happened was your bones bent a little bit.
He said that?
And it probably just pulled the ligaments and the muscles apart. It'll start feeling better shortly. I'm like, awesome. Okay, cool. Didn't know that was an option. Didn't know I could bend my bones.
So Brandy, I bent my elbow bone a little bit.
Just a little bit. So when I was crawling into bed going, fuck, crying. And then that evening, Kim showed up over here.
Oh yeah, because she's
an
a nurse,
X-ray tech.
right?
She's an X-ray tech, and she goes, and she's apparently.
Did you have your X-rays? Did they give them to you?
Yeah, I had them on a CD or a flash drive or something. But she goes, because apparently this is really common when men fall. They break those two things or whatever.
Oh, really?
And so there's a test where she puts her hand out like that and she goes, squeeze my palm. And I squeeze and I was like, it's feeling better than it did this morning. And she's like, you fucking broke your skank Floyd. She goes, you have no thumb pressure. That's whatever. And she's like, that's a bad bone. It takes forever to heal. And if you don't get it fixed, you have no ability to like push with your thumb. And I was like, oh boy, okay. So she goes, let's go look at these x-rays. And she pulls them up and she's like looking at them. She's like, these are the shittiest x-rays I've ever seen.
Dude, isn't that a testament to like the service you receive at places like
you get what you pay for, I guess.
Dude,
it's cheap,
it is.
It's a third of the price and you
even
get
with
a
doctors.
third of the x-rays. But she goes, no, there's a fracture there. And she could see it on the x-ray and they were shitty x-rays. And so then I went to Nebraska Orthopedic or whatever and got the real stuff. And the doctor's like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and we can do surgery or we can just put you in a cast and we'll have to take another x-ray in a couple weeks to make sure it's growing back together, or 6 weeks or whatever. Because it was like 12 weeks, I think. It was a long time. It was like,
I remember
it might have been 16 weeks. I don't know. It was like 4 months that you had to be in a cast.
And you were working with a cast on. And like, it was not just like a hard cast. It was like a sling, wasn't it?
I started out with that thing, like the splint. They gave me a splint, but then I ended up getting a cast that came up here. No, they couldn't do anything with the elbow. The elbow just grows back normal, but the wrist is what they were worried about. And they go, well, if it starts sticking and growing back together, then you're good with the cast. Otherwise,
surgery.
We're gonna have to have surgery. And I was like, well, the $600 sounds a lot better than the $2,500, so let's go with the cast. Okay, well, we're gonna put a cast on, and we're gonna have you come back every 3 weeks and get another cast.
And all you're seeing is like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
And I'm like, well, why do I need to get another cast? He's like, well, normally they start stinking. And I was like, yeah, that's
God,
not
dude,
a reason.
that was the thing.
That's not a reason.
Oh my God, you wouldn't change the cast.
I didn't change the cast. Why? They cut it off, and I had this fucking nasty, like yellow, dead skin.
I remember
sludge.
Brandy being actually visibly upset because your cast smelled so bad.
It wasn't.
I forgot about that.
It wasn't. It was not that bad.
I think it was, dude.
Well,
I think like
it was not that bad. Fuck you guys.
I'm not.
Zach used to say, because when we went on the fishing trip and I had the cast, yeah, that's what it was. They wanted me to change the cast out literally the day before we left to go on the fishing trip. And I said, for the second cast. And I go, no, I am not going to get a brand new cast and then go on a fishing trip and get fish slime and guts all over. That's going to smell like hell. Not going to do it. I'll just ride it out. Well, then it was another week gone. And it was another week gone. I was like, well, I got to have this thing for another 4 weeks. It's like, fuck it. Let's ride it out. Let's save the $180 or $300 or whatever it was to get a cast. I was like, just ride it. They cut it off. 4 weeks early.
Imagine all the stuff that gets absorbed into that cast, like sweat and
dude, it was
sawdust.
It was nasty.
You.
There was like yellow chunks of like nastiness. When she popped it open, it was weird. I wonder if I don't have any pictures of that because I think they wiped it down.
That's like taking like a couple-month-old sock that you've been wearing for
It had nothing to do with the jack rag.
Oh man, yep. I remember those days.
The jack rags or
your cast.
Yeah, it took me 33 years to break a bone, so I figured I'd break 2 of them.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so I figure I'm good now till like 99. But yeah, broke the arm because of the Chevelle. And we still made the birthday cruise. Still made it.
Like I said, you're like one of the only ones left that'll pull those like all-nighters for a goal.
Yeah, I was really pissed that 2 years ago, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when Derek, the Monty, was like almost there and he's like, meh, just not going to do it. I'm like, come on, dude, do it.
Yeah.
But he was doing everything so meticulous. He wasn't hacking any of that stuff together. Not saying I was hacking stuff together, but you do start throwing things together and skipping and taking shortcuts. So I can't really give him a lot of shit, but I was like, come on, man, we can do it. I even took an afternoon off to go help him get it started. And it was like, when he said, yeah, it's just not going to happen, I was like, why? We were so close. I like that. I like the hard deadline. That's the only way I get anything done is to have that.
That's how you should set goals. I mean, give yourself a reason.
Car shows, birthday cruise. If it's an arbitrary one, just like, oh, I want to have it started by Tuesday, they don't.
It doesn't work as
well.
They
don't stick as well.
You're like, yeah, but I can.
I did set a stupid goal for the Prelude to paint the body last year, about a year ago, in 7 days. And then I spent fucking 4 days in the engine bay trying to get that ready to go. And I ended up painting it Christmas Eve. Yeah, Christmas Eve. And I got done at like 4:40 in the morning and then had to wake up and go to Christmas at my parents' house. But I missed it by 4 days, and every single day I spent in the engine bay trying to get the engine bay straight. It was not close. But yeah, that was because. But I was out here for.
You at least, you have that thing.
You got something done. You got something accomplished.
Well, the Impala's been the same way. I mean, the downside to it is you have a lot of loose ends. By the time you reach your goal, it's like, I'll have to go back and, finish the interior.
Yeah, the wiring needs to be buttoned up a little bit, but it starts, and then you drive it for 10 years without the wiring buttoned up.
You get to that point where it pays off.
You get more done in a week than you would have got done in a year without having that unrealistic deadline.
Yeah, and like when I bought the Impala from Derek, he was like, well, I'll make you a deal. If you want to buy it from me, I will help you do the underbody work.
Did you put floor pans in that?
Floor pans, and then there's just a bunch of, like, I don't know if they were jumping this thing or what, but like a lot of the floor pans were dented, and then there's some other rust spots in the I don't know, the
rocker.
No, it was kind of the support bracing that goes under there. A lot of that was rusted out, and it's all that little tedious work that adds forever to your timeline. But
yeah, when you think about, or I got lists up there that like, okay, this is what I have to get done, and actually having a paper list and you can go and cross stuff off helps a lot too. But you're like, oh, okay, cool. And you can kind of put like, this will take an hour. This will take 2 hours. This is going to be one night. This will be the next night. And then you start doing it and you're like, motherfucker, this thing was supposed to take 1 night or one hour, took all night. And then you broke something in the process of doing it, like a bolt broke off in a head or something. And you're like, now you're backwards 3 steps.
That's
stuff you don't anticipate. And it just takes a lot longer than you think it should.
That's where the problem solving comes in. And decision making. You're like, well, do I make a tool or wait for one?
That is shitty when you got to wait for something.
Yeah, that sucks. I hate having to run to O'Reilly's because it feels like it's going to take forever.
And it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, like when you get, like, when you're like, say you melt a spark plug wire when you're trying to fire an engine or something, and you're like, I don't have any spark plug wires and I got to run to O'Reilly's for it. And then you go to O'Reilly's and you're going to get the guy that's like, what's the year, make, model? No, sir. Just give me 8mm MSD plug wires.
I'm sorry, sir. We only sell 8.5 millimeter. We have the 7.9s or the 8.5.
Yeah. And I don't know.
I like to fuck with them when they do that. I'm like, they're like, what's this going on? I was like, well, it's technically going on a 1978 Bobcat, but not like the car Bobcat. I'm talking about, the skid steer Bobcat,
I had a 5-minute conversation with one of the O'Reilly's guys about the importance of shimming your starter, because I bought a shim kit, a universal shim kit for a small block Chevy.
I have never shimmed one starter ever.
It depends on
in my life.
The brand of flywheel or flex plate that you buy. That's something that'll help. Don't buy the off-brand stuff.
I've never shimmed one. I've never had an issue. My starters always work. Fuck.
Good thing you built this table.
Out of wood. All right. Well, we've been at it now for a little bit. All right, guys. That's going to be a wrap for the JRL Digital Podcast. Yeah. Thanks to Spike or Jason Lubkin, or what else do you go by? What are your aliases?
Little Spoon sometimes. I don't know. No, Big Spoon. Dang it. Oh, dude.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We're going to catch you on the next one. And hey, don't forget to subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Oh, yeah. And go check out FTPSpeedShop.com.
Why is it the koozies that you're trying to market the most? Like, those are like, what is your margin on that? 25 cents?
Yeah, this is, $3. They cost $2.75 a make. Well, I'm advertising for Havelock Hot Rods today on this one. Oh, sorry, it's this side. Sorry. But yeah. All right, we'll catch you on the next one.